Chatbots are conversational agents, computer programs which can interact via natural language with users on a variety of topics. They differentiate themselves from other types of conversational agents, the type of things you might be familiar with in, say, for example, for ordering a taxi or an airline ticket, in that they're far more open-ended. That is, their goal is really just to engage the user and not necessarily to achieve a single task. In order to do that well, they need to be able to understand what the user's saying, and they need to be able to also provide useful information back to the user. These are sort of some of the core problems that natural language processing studies. Okay, so natural language processing is sometimes said to be AI complete. And what that means is the people saying that are saying that perhaps to solve natural language processing is as hard as building an artificial intelligence. I think that could very well be the case, but I think that it still is an open question. For example, if we go back to chatbots, a particularly simple type of chatbot, the parrot bot, that just simply matches patterns on the input and then uses that to generate output, can sometimes actually produce rather convincing conversational agents. And so I think the field of natural language processing, its successes in many ways actually depend on the fact that fairly simple pattern matching techniques can actually produce surprisingly effective output. To that extent, perhaps human intelligence might be not quite as complex as what we originally thought. So current technology in natural language processing is very largely driven by the needs of mobile computing, basically mobile phones. So many of you will be familiar with intelligent conversational agents such as Siri, but those things are restricted both in terms of the back-end information that they can make use of, and perhaps more importantly, in terms of the way in which they can make use of broader informational contextual dependencies. So for example, a system is currently capable of making a restaurant booking in downtown Sydney, but it's not yet intelligent enough to realise that you actually have to get there in time for that booking. And it doesn't check, for example, the navigation system to make sure that the traffic would allow you to do that. Well, chatbots are supposed to be intelligent conversational agents, and so of course that raises the question, how intelligent are they? Well, Alan Turing's famous Turing test is supposed to be a behavioural measure to determine whether or not a computer is intelligent or not. The idea is if the behaviour of a computer can't be distinguished from the behaviour of some human being, then we might as well say that the computer is intelligent. Now, an interesting thing that was discovered in the very early days of chatbots, back in the 1960s at MIT, was that very simple chatbots that did nothing more than pattern matching, parrot bots if you like, can be remarkably convincing. In fact, actually what Weizenbaum discovered in the 1960s was that his secretary was convinced that there was really an intelligent person at the other end of the teletype. This raises all kinds of interesting questions about the nature of our intelligence, intentionality, and free will. Philosophers such as Searle at Berkeley claim that present-day computers can only ever be glorified parrot bots because deep down all they can do is pattern matching. But some neuroscientists and philosophers suggest that pattern matching may be all that there really is to intelligence, and that free will may ultimately be an illusion.